In today's video, I have a question for you. Do you know what your greatest resource is in life? Today, I'm going to give you a little bit of perspective and some thoughts on what I feel our greatest resource as human beings is, and I'm going to take a few moments to discuss why I feel that it's important for us to consider how we're managing this resource, what possible ramifications it has on our ability to create the life that we want. Hi, my name is Edward James Carey. Welcome to Praxis Living, where I create content to help you create the life that you want. So today, I want to talk about what our greatest resource is. So let me ask you, what do you think your greatest resource is? Do you think that it's your personal network and that who you know determines the kind of life that you can have? What about money? Do you think that having all the money in the world might be a valuable resource, your most valuable resource? What about physical health? Would that be your greatest resource? How healthy and alive and how well you are? What about time? Do you feel as though time might be your greatest resource? The ability to make your own schedule, the ability to control all of the time that you have and what you do with your day-to-day? All of these things are very, very good resources, but I really don't personally think that any of these are to be considered our greatest resource. Personally, I really believe that our greatest resource is our mind. I believe our greatest resource is our mind, and the reason that I believe this is because if we control our mind, we control how much money that we have in our life. We control how we feel in our physical health and wellness. We control our state of emotions. We control our ability to think. How we get along with other people in our social interactions and relationships is heavily affected and determined by our mind. Now, it sounds like a nice thing to consider. Oh yeah, our greatest resource is our mind. But do we really understand the ramifications of what that means? Let's dive into this just for a moment. I want to offer some perspective and give you some things to think about. I believe that the world that we live in today is heavily designed in order to compete for your most valuable resource, your mind. How much of your mind do you give to other people's agenda, to your job, to your friends and your family, to television or movies, to the radio, to politics and voting, to watching the news every day? My friends, I really believe that the greatest battle that you and I have to endure every day of our life is learning about and maintaining control of our most valuable resource, which is our mind. The one who controls our mind is the one who controls the reality that we experience in our everyday life. And so I would like to make the suggestion that the one that you allow to have full control of your mind is yourself. In fact, I happen to know a very good book, and in that book, there is a verse that states, "Be not conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And that is not just simply a good piece of advice. It actually comes with a promise attached to that verse. The verse goes on to say, after "be transformed by the renewing of your mind," that you may prove and test what is the good and perfect will of God for your life. Now, my friends, you do not have to be a Christian believer in order to take this piece of advice and test it for yourself. I know that I can look back on the past 20 years of my life personally and where I've come from in order to understand that by my accepting and applying this concept to be transformed by the renewing of my mind has led me slowly into this place and this life that I live today. And I feel as though my life is just getting started. So let's suppose that you're watching this video and you're wondering, how can I actively transform myself by the renewing of my mind? Let me give you a few suggestions. You can read good books. And by good books, I don't just mean whatever book happens to be the cornerstone of your religion or your faith. I'm a Christian believer and I read the Holy Bible, but I certainly do not limit all of my knowledge intake to the Holy Bible. I read books by other leaders in order to assist me in the transformative process of my own mind. You can attend events and seminars where like-minded individuals are gathering as a group in order to improve themselves and become better people. You can begin practicing some silent time to yourself, specific on meditation or exercise, and just simply enjoying some quiet time for reflection. You can limit your exposure to media, to television, to news, to movies. The media is not a source of information that is hoping that you learn how to master your own mind. It is designed to compete for your most valuable resource, the control of your mind. You can shift your focus into plugging into media forms of content that are designed to assist you in improving and expanding who you are. You can invest time in exploring yourself and deciding who you want to be in this life, how you want to show up and live, and what you want your life to look like. Valuable sources of information all over the planet that you can plug into any moment that you decide if you want to get involved in the process of transforming yourself by the renewing of your mind. So those are some of my suggestions. Please consider what your most valuable resource in life is. I believe that our mind has a direct influence on governing every other resource that we have access to in this life. And I hope that these words that I've shared with you today have at least given you something to think about and consider. That's all I have to share today on this subject of what our most valuable resource is. I hope that I've been able to give you something to think about and consider. If you've enjoyed this video and you've found value in it, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. Doing those things helps me get the word out to more and more people. Once again, my name is Edward James Carey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.